Hi, I'm Ron Newton, and I'm Senior Vice President of Sales and Marketing for Coates. First, I'd like to thank you for watching this tape. We'll keep it short, but there are some things on this video that you need to know. Even if you've been changing tires for 20 years, you'll learn something new. And if you're just starting out in our business, you'll pick up some key points that will let you do your job better and safer. So for the next few minutes, relax and let us show you how one word could possibly save your life. And thanks again for watching.
RIM. It's a word you use every day, and it's a word that could save your life. RIM. Read, inspect, and mount. But why is this so important? Let's show you. A tire explosion caused by carelessness is one of the most dangerous things that can happen in an automotive repair shop. It's hard to understand the force of a tire explosion until you've seen it yourself. And once you see it, you'll never forget it. A tire explosion can happen to anyone. It doesn't matter if you just started working at a tire shop or you've been installing tires for 20 years. All it takes is one careless act and the results could change your life forever. Many people are killed each year by exploding tires, and many others are seriously injured. Not all were working on a tire changer, but even one death or one injury is too many. Now, studies show that the number of accidents in tire shops increased over 100% in just 1 year. And Coates wants to keep you from becoming a statistic. That's one of the reasons we developed the Coates RIM program. RIM stands for Read, Inspect, and Mount. And it's these three procedures that can help prevent you from having a serious accident. Read the tire and the wheel size to make sure they match. Inspect the rim for bent flanges, cracks, or rust, and the tire for defects. Mount the tire safely using the proper steps. Refer to the operator's manual if you're unsure of the proper procedure. And never, ever lean over a tire while you're inflating it. RIM, read, inspect, mount. Another word for safety. If you get injured, you might be home recovering instead of making money. And nobody wants to call your family to tell them that you're in a hospital because of an accident in the shop, especially an accident that can be easily prevented. That's why the Coates RIM program is so important. Remember RIM. Read, inspect, mount every time you change a tire, and you'll be on your way to a safer shop environment. Now, let's show you some of the basics for tire changing and safety. Now, this isn't a complete lesson. You'll learn new things every day you're on the job. This will show you the basic steps you'll use every time you change a customer's tire and what you can do to prevent injuries. Start with common sense. Wear safety glasses. It's better to play it safe. Even when you get to the point where you can change tires in your sleep, don't. The moment you're not paying attention is often right when you could get hurt. It's also important to be aware of what's going on around you. That's what the pros do, and that's how they avoid accidents. Before you actually begin to change tires, you need to know something about tire and wheel sizing. Now, many tires and wheels will look alike, but there can be dangerous differences. Take a look at these two wheels. They're pretty similar, but they're clearly different when you inspect them properly. One is a 16-inch rim, and the other is a 16.5-inch rim. Now, a 16-inch tire will go on a 16.5-inch rim, but if you try to inflate it, it won't reach the bead seats. Now, it may hold some air, but you can add more and more air and the tire still won't seat. It can, however, explode. So knowing rim and tire sizes is very important. Read the tire and the rim size on every tire you mount and make sure they're the same. It only takes a minute, and with wheel and tire sizes so close together today, it's also a must. Remember, never put the wrong size tire on a rim. Always match the tire and the rim exactly. Now, if you have questions about rim size, check the size stamped on the wheel. But knowing the wheel size is only half the battle. You must also know how to pick the proper size tire to fit. The typical tire size for imports is a P185 60R14. A sports car may have a P295 50R16. And a passenger car tire may have a P225 70R15. Now, understanding tire sizes is crucial to your entire career. Now, let's pick apart the common tire sizes to explain what each element represents. P. The P stands for passenger car tire. This tire is designed for use on passenger cars only. 185. That's the section width in millimeters. It's the longest distance from inflated sidewall to sidewall. 60. That's the aspect ratio of the tire as a percentage. A 60 series tire means the section is 60% as high as it is wide. Usually the higher percentage, the more narrow the tire. R. The R means the tire is a radial. The tire is of steel belt construction per DOT specs. 14 is the wheel size. This is the bead seat diameter of the rim and the bead diameter of the tire. The wheel size and the tire size must always match. Remember, each number is a measurement and each letter is a designation for use or tire construction. There are lots of tire sizes out there, but there are also several ways to determine the proper size for the car. Consult the tire guide to find out the right size for the vehicle. The tire guide is a book containing all the tire and rim sizes of cars and light trucks. Another place to look is inside the driver's side door of the car. There's usually a sticker there that tells you the proper tire size. So the first step to professional tire changing is to select the right tires. It's important to remember that the old tires on the rims may not be an indication of the correct tire size, so you should never rely on this alone. You must always verify the size stamped on the wheel itself. And while you're at it, check the new tire sizes to be sure they match the wheel. Then you're ready to take the old tires off the rims and install new ones. To show you the basics of tire changing, we'll be using a Coates Model 6060 tire changer. Other manufacturers' machines may operate differently, so be sure to go over the operation manual with your shop manager before you start using it. Start by removing the wheel weights both from the outside and the inside of the wheel. Deflate the tire by removing the valve core using a valve stem tool. Never smoke when you're doing this. If the customer has had a flat and used a tire foam sealant, the air in the tire could be flammable. Make sure the valve core doesn't fly out from the stem. The air pressure is significant behind the core and can cause injuries. Now you're ready to loosen the beads. Place the tire against the wheel pads and align the bead loosening shoe just outside the wheel flange. Use the button control to apply pressure until the bead loosens. Repeat this process for the other side of the wheel. Then lubricate both beads. Using proper lifting techniques, lift the wheel up to the tabletop and secure it by activating the rim clamp pedal. Once the wheel is secured, position the swing arm over the wheel and lock it in place. Then lower the tool head until it's directly over but not touching the wheel and lock it into place. Place the end of the universal tire tool under the top bead. Push down the opposite side of the tire into the drop center and pull up to bring the bead over the top of the wheel rim. Push the rotation pedal and the tabletop rotates, removing the top bead. Release the pedal. Repeat this procedure for the lower bead, but pull up on the tire to position the tire bead in the drop center. This will give you enough clearance for the tire tool. Remove the old tire and set it to one side. If required, remove the old valve stem, then remove the wheel from the tire changer. Remember, every time read the size on the wheel and the new tire to make sure they are exactly the same. Inspect the wheel for rust, cracks, bent flanges, or any other defect that could cause a problem. Also inspect the tire to be installed for bead damage, sidewall damage, or other obvious manufacturing defects. If you find any of these problems, do not mount the tire, but call your supervisor. Once you've inspected the wheel and found that it's okay to use, you can safely mount the tire using the proper steps and caution. Place the wheel back on the tire changing machine and, if needed, install a new valve stem by lubricating it and pulling it through the rim. Lubricate the new tire beads and position it on top of the wheel with one side of the bead down over the rim. Move the tire so that half of the lower bead is down over the rim in the drop center and twist it to position it on the mounting part of the tool head. Push the rotation pedal and the tabletop rotates, installing the bottom bead on the wheel. Release the pedal. Repeat the procedure for the top bead, pushing down on it as it rotates. Then move the swing arm out of the way. Attach the clip-on chuck to the valve stem. Hold the tire up slightly to allow it to touch the upper bead seat. Press the air hose pedal halfway until you hear air flowing into the valve. Then press the pedal all the way down and hold it for 1 second. This allows the air jets to force enough air into the tire to seal the bead. Once the bead is seated, release the pedal. Insert the valve core using a valve stem tool and replace the air hose on the tire. Release the rim clamps to allow the tire to expand as it inflates. It's very important to pay close attention to bead seating. If the bead doesn't seal against a flange once you begin inflating the tire, then there may be a problem. The bead may not be lubricated properly, or the bead may be caught in the drop center. But trouble in bead seating may also mean a mismatched tire and rim, and that can be very dangerous. If the bead hasn't seated against the rim with 40 psi of air pressure, stop immediately. Deflate the tire, remove it from the rim, and check the tire and wheel sizes again, and look for problems. If you don't find any, then relubricate the bead and try again. Once you are sure you have followed the proper procedures and the tire still won't seat, the tire or rim may be out of specification. The mounting procedure should not resume until the problem has been found and corrected. Move behind the inflation guard if your tire changer has one, and continue airing up the tire. If your tire changer doesn't have an inflation guard, stand back with your head and body away from the machine while airing up the tire, and make sure other people are clear too. Never ever put your head or any other part of your body over the machine while you're inflating the tire. There's never a reason to do this. Inflate the tire to the recommended pressure, but only after you're sure the beads have properly seated. If you don't know the pressure recommendation, look at the vehicle's driver's side door or consult the tire guide for the right information. The basic steps to mounting a tire are simple enough, but every time you mount a tire, remember rim. Read the tire size. to make sure it matches the wheel. Inspect the wheel to make sure it's not damaged. And mount the tire safely, and don't lean over the tire while you're inflating it. Rim. One word for additional safety. Now, let's go over some basic situations that can cause you trouble. Mismatched tires and wheels. Always make sure tire and rim sizes are the same. Rusted or bent wheels. Never mount a tire if the rim is damaged. Customers bringing in own tires and rims. If a customer brings in his own tire and rim, especially a used tire, don't mount it until both tire and rim have been carefully inspected to make sure they are the right size, free of damage, and will work together. Be extra careful with half-size tires and metric tire sizes. Remember, the wheel size and the tire size must always match. Bead hang-up. If the bead doesn't seat at 40 pounds of air pressure, stop. Something isn't right. Take the tire off and check it carefully to make sure it's the right size and that it's not damaged. If you don't find a problem, re-lubricate the tire and try to remount. Once you are sure you have followed the proper procedures and the tire still won't seat, the tire or rim is out of specification. The mounting procedure should not resume until the problem has been identified and corrected. Overinflation. If the bead doesn't seat before you put 40 pounds of air pressure in the tire, something is wrong. Deflate the tire and check it carefully. Fingers in the bead area. Keep your fingers out of the bead area when inflating. It's very easy to get a finger broken, bruised, or even cut off. Back injuries. Bend your knees when you lift. This protects your back and keeps you healthy and on the job. Be sure to look for this poster on your shop wall. It will tell you more about each of these areas and how to stay safer. But the most important thing to remember is rim. Read, inspect, mount. Remember rim, and you'll find you're a whole lot safer, and so is your shop. The tire changing industry is also working to make equipment safer and easier to use. Inflation guards and air pressure control devices are now making their way into the marketplace, and your shop may have this state-of-the-art equipment soon. Coates offers the Inflation Guard 6060 featured in our lesson, and also an Inflation Guard upgrade for existing 5030 and 5060 models. Ask your shop owner to purchase one if you don't have these Inflation Guard upgrades. However, even if you're working on an older tire changer, be sure to remember rim. Read the tire and wheel to make sure they're the same size. Inspect the rim for damage like rust, bent flanges, or cracks. And mount the tire using the right steps. Never put your head or any part of your body over the tire while you're inflating it. Remember rim. It's one word and one step toward better safety. This is Dave Bowman saying thanks for listening. Be safe and be careful every day.